Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
It seems like these days crypto market is trying to make us feel bored to death, and during this time there's still something happening, but it's just hidden behind the scene, and it's something like written between the lines. If you're eager to know what is my opinion about these such a things, please stay tuned. You're watching Crypto Hamster channel. Let's go.
Turn up. Let's go.
Well, what happened? So yesterday, you remember I showed this red triangle and I said probably it will be broken in one or another way, and I actually expected it to be going up, but I mean down and up, but it went just down, and now we are still trading in the same zone, which we were traded a long time before, like very huge volume in this area already accumulated. So but still I would expect the next move, like maybe like we test this level again, but still after that we'll probably go upwards and test this line eventually, because it's so close, so tempting to cut some stop orders around there, and like go after that go down and cut even more stop orders. So pretty much the same though, like shorts are slowly growing, longs are slowly growing. People just carefully try to act on the market. So also I was like drawing some channels. You see, actually you can make it in multiple ways, and it doesn't make much sense because of the manipulative market nature these days, but still like you can draw it like this with white channel. It actually got broken, and the yellow one, which is we're still in that, but still they're all like whichever you will draw it, like still it is within this green zone, huge green triangle, and we are about to touch the end of that triangle, maybe within end of October. So pretty much actually even if you consider like this zone, like 6,200, something like that, it will be still end of October. Maybe the end of triangle will be middle of November, so probably like a month or something max, and we'll have some interesting moves. So far we'll just try to stay safe and maybe make some small gains on like say altcoins or these swings. The latter actually would be quite dangerous, I would argue. So also looking at the more bigger time scale, right? So let's look at the daily chart. See here this zone still like in a very huge accumulating volume here, and this is pretty much the bottom which we had so far. So as I already referred to that, is there any reason to sell all of that volume if it was bought by huge players? I would argue that it's not reasonable, and I constantly monitoring the biggest Bitcoin wallets addresses in the Bitcoin blockchain, so you can see some recent examples from maybe like August, middle of August, even from the beginning of August. I always see some new addresses with big numbers of Bitcoins appear, from 1,000 Bitcoin to 15 or even more, like 20,000 Bitcoin appear in the certain addresses, and they are only deposits, so there is no withdrawals basically. So it means that those altcoins, those Bitcoins, they were gained somewhere, and I doubt that it's from OTC, because otherwise we would see that as withdrawals from the certain addresses. but we see that those coins appear in these addresses, means that probably where they came from either mining, which is not that possible because it's not so many bitcoins are mined comparing the amount which are appeared, and second option is from trading from the exchange when they got it from the huge moves during the like abrupt change in the price, some news or whatever, cutting stops or something like that. So yeah, and well, what's the point to accumulate such number of bitcoins except you would like to sell them in a higher price? I would say there is no point. Probably it is the sign that it will go up. It's just a matter of time, just a question when it will go up. But still very long consolidation here, so I would say even we're traded like for 2 months around, so like if we'll exclude this bump, it's actually like indeed around 2 months already, and here we also were traded around the same way, probably quite a lot, like it's huge period of time. So we probably will have like, I don't know, half a year max, maybe 1 year max. Just we already waited for 9 months. We can wait until the end of 2019, so whatever, if you didn't have a urgent need in your money invested in, or if you have it, it's really nice to maybe make a dollar cost averaging technique if you buy somewhere on the top. So don't forget, it's very useful to average your cost of your Bitcoin bought, but don't forget that if I say that to buy here or whatever I say, it's just my personal opinion, not financial advice. But so far, let's look at some of the coins which I was looking at, which were mentioning yesterday, like what are the potentials and technically plus some other, based on some other signs, high potential coins. For example, so I mentioned what was yesterday. I mentioned data coin with the ticker DTA, which made some listing on two huge Upbit probably, and Bittrex, and it got quite a pump and actually shows nice technical signs of the growth, like potential for the future growth. But what I was going to show today, maybe some examples of those which didn't really yet pumped. For example, this did pump a little, but it's not the like the major thing. I just wanted to show that this is Electronium or Electronium, whatever you like, ETN, and it had pretty much touched the bottom, quite the bottom, maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that. And then when we had a bit of a rally of like what was the XRP increase, Stellar was on the rise. So after that, Electronium also rose, and that was like one first wave. This was the second wave. I wouldn't say they are like fractals, but still look very similar. And now we're consolidating. It didn't fall that dramatically, and the volume is reasonable. So probably if the price of Bitcoin will show some strength eventually, this may follow quite in an exaggerated way. Probably this would be even higher, so like, I don't know, 50%, one more 50%, maybe like 70-75% more. Very interesting. So just look at that. Maybe you would have considering this, but looking at the other coins, which in my opinion may have some like indirect signs of the move eventually. Actually, I was going to mention first the Dogecoin, whatever you call it. So I've seen so many pumps of this coin, and recently it made like 3x or something like that, and like it's usually happens with the Dogecoin. The thing is that with the coin which is pumped so many times during the short period of time, you would expect it to happen more, well, once again, like eventually within the short period of time. And the thing which is interesting with Dogecoin, so I just wanted to find some other coins which are similar to Dogecoin but didn't pump yet. But one thing what I was going to mention about the Dogecoin is that the main the main trading platform is the exchange is traded is Gate.io, which is actually not that huge at all. So how do you think, how would it react if it will be listed on Binance, for example? Probably it would be quite a pump. And actually it's ranked 20, not so many coins within like 20 or 30 coins in the first like 30 coins in CoinMarketCap are not listed in Binance. So I was going to go through them. So Bitcoin is actually listed on Binance, but you see the price action. It was 1, 2, 3 huge pumps, and basically we are in the very the stage similar to previous stage before the pump. So like you see the decrease and little flattening, and we are here. So now we can we like rose after that again, flattening, jump. So probably it's quite likely that this would be the next Dogecoin, I would argue. So yeah, actually there are some tweets and Twitter about that. It's not exactly my idea, but it's interesting to observe those trends. So maybe if you have some free fiat and if you're a risky person, just try it out, and if it will be nice, just give me half your profit. Okay, anyway, another coin, interesting one, again in the rank 18, very high compared, relatively high in the CoinMarketCap ranking, Tezos. It has long history, if you know that, and actually it was expected to perform quite nicely, but well, from what's that, from October 2017, that it didn't really change in the price, but now we have the case when, although it is such an interesting coin fundamentally, and like 18th rank, it is not listed in huge exchange except maybe like Bitfinex or HitBTC. Is not really such an exchange I would consider. So again, Gate.io, Bitfinex, Gate.io, it's not the exchange which you would consider to have a big liquidity. Well, Bitfinex is big liquidity, but not for this particular coin. It's like 1%, sorry, 9%, but still. So just imagine how it will react if it will be listing on on Binance, for example. So as usual, Binance gives like 50% rise or something like that for the price of coin with a following correction. But on this rise, you may have your profit. So yeah, it may go down or something, but if it would be listed, for example, it's still actually it's in pretty much in the bottom. So everything which was before was either the same area in the price or higher. So it's not that a bad deal. Another one which I was going to mention is also rank 27 Maker. Very similar. You see how does it flattening, how it is flattening with time, a little bit going down, but this was probably the bottom. Like again, this 20th, like middle of September, many coins were touching the sort of local bottom, and Maker as well, probably like this support. Then it starts to rise, and actually it shows pretty much solid rising trend with well, some volume is here. It's not that big, it's like 1 million, but yeah, why not? So if you will continue to do that, and like this again, it's not a crazy change in terms of like increase in price, so you wouldn't be really risking too much buying high, but it has the potential to grow. And also again, it was listed on Binance, and even probably like what is Bittrex also is not here. So OKX, yeah, OKX is here, is good, but still just one huge exchange. There are many other big exchanges. Especially I would stress Binance, because like it's just very few coins within the top 30 which are not listed on Binance, and Maker is one of them. And the last one which I was going to talk about is Decred, and here it is. Again, it shows very similar behavior. Like you see here was sort of a consolidation, then rise, and then bottom here, well, relatively bottom, again rise, and now we're bottoming this relatively the same area. So if at this point of time let's say, just imagine that we'll buy it, what can happen? It can of course go down, but this not the like the price which you would consider to be the top, right? It's still very, very low comparing to the average price of the coin. And also, again, it wasn't listed on Binance. Yeah, there is Upbit, there is Bittrex, but no Huobi as well, but no Binance. It's like, what it is, the rank 30. And also, if you look at like envelope function of the chart, you see that it constantly, like dollar-wise, it constantly grows. Like if you exclude these parabolic rises, it grows constantly. So probably if you buy it, even if it will go down, then eventually it will go to the mean, and even to the higher values. So not a bad trade in my opinion. So just wanted to show you that there are still options even now when we have such a boring period of time in crypto. So maybe it would be useful. If it would, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you didn't yet. But I would like to see you next time, tomorrow. Maybe some interesting ideas will appear, or some interesting moves in the price will happen, or some news will appear. Crypto is fun always. So see you tomorrow, guys. Safe trading. Goodbye.